Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group.
A man who's gone through hell, but he's kept going, and he's smart, and he's strong, and people love him. Not everybody, but people love him and respect him. Roger Stone.
Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back. President Donald Trump addressed Congress last week for the first time since reclaiming the presidency. His first pronouncement to Congress and the nation, America is back. Trump is a colossus. He is a force of nature. As I watched him speak last week, I couldn't help but marvel about the greatest single political comeback in American history. But here's the point. America is back because Trump is back. Joining us now, a man who was in the chamber during that historic speech, Congressman Eric Burlison of Missouri, one of my favorite congressmen. He is a tireless fighter for the American taxpayers, a believer in limited government, a strong supporter of the Second Amendment and free market policies. He's also an America First Republican. I'm very honored to have my friend Eric Burlison, Congressman from Missouri 7th District, join us on the Roger Stone Show. Congressman, welcome.
Wow, Roger, it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you for all the kind words.
So it had to be incredible to be right there in the chamber. I mean, tell the truth. Was the hair on the back of your head standing up? Because that was the greatest speech I think I have ever heard Donald Trump give.
It really was. And for me, I was pinching myself because there was moments where I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm just a kid that grew up in Southwest Missouri. How did I get here? How did I get to be at this moment, to see a historic moment and see the greatest president giving his comeback State of the Union address? It was amazing, and I was pinching myself the whole time, and I was loving every minute of it. And Roger, the first 2 years I was in office, I had to listen to Joe Biden. And when you start speaking at 9:30, which is normally my bedtime, and you're Joe Biden, I had a hard time even staying awake. But Donald Trump, he was from the very beginning to the end, he was entertaining, insightful, and bold, and had a huge bold vision.
I mean, I honestly think, strangely enough, I think he is now going to be an even greater and more consequential, transformative president, I guess I should say, in this term than if he had been rightfully seated in 2020. I think that, unfortunately, as painful as it was, the 4-year experience of the tsunami of lawfare against him, the politicization of our criminal justice system, the use of the government for political purposes in violation of the Constitution, this has battle-hardened him. He is so ready. He now so much better understands the two-party duopoly. Call him the deep state, call him the military-industrial complex, as Dwight Eisenhower did. He understands the political establishment in Washington, and they resist change. They resist reform. They particularly resist when anybody starts to dig into waste, fraud, or financial corruption. Which is why I think what Elon Musk is doing, which, by the way, the president has the absolute legal executive authority to allow him to do, to direct him to do, is going to change the face of American politics and perhaps our country's financial options going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you that he is benefiting from the opportunity of having 4 years to sit back and recalculate what would he do to plan. He had 4 years to plan his return. And the other thing is that what happened is Trump spurred the deep state and the swamp, and all of those deep state, corrupt officials. They like to stay below the surface. They don't like to be exposed. But in order to attack Trump, they had to come out into the daylight. They all were exposed for everything that they were trying to do and manipulate the system against Trump. And that, I hate to say it, but it's, I hate that what Trump went through, but we're better for it. If that makes any sense at all, like the country is better for it because now we know what's really destroying this country, and Trump knows exactly, what needs to be fixed.
Congressman, you are known as a fiscal hawk, a real fighter for the taxpayers. I know you hate debt and you hate high taxes. You're a man of deep conservative fiscal principle. I saw that you met with the president recently as he and Speaker Johnson, who I like very much. Don't always agree with him on 100%, but I really think he is very loyal to the president, and he has a very difficult job that I think some people may underestimate because of, shall we say, the diverse nature of his caucus. But I saw that you met with the president as he tries to patch together this temporary financing to keep the government operating. None of us like these continuing resolutions, but I saw you announce that you are willing to consider it.
Yeah, I would never support a continuing resolution, but for Donald Trump. I don't trust anybody else. I think Donald Trump is uniquely someone that is prepared to do what's necessary, and I think having those meetings and talking with Russ Vought and understanding the process, and that if you've got a person like Trump in office and people like Russ Vought backing him up, they can use procedures that are unlocked with a continuing resolution, such as rescissions, such as impoundment,
yes,
and other things that they are now able to use. And frankly, as you mentioned, Roger, is that the conference that I'm in, the Republican conference, Congress doesn't have the capability, the political courage to make these bold and difficult cuts. But Trump does have that courage, and if we can unlock the tools that he needs to be able to do what's necessary to save the country, then I'm willing to take the tough vote for no other reason because I believe Trump.
Well, I think Doge has changed everything. I worked for President Ronald Reagan in 3 campaigns in 1976 when we challenged Gerald Ford, in 1980 when he was elected, in 1984 when I ran his reelection campaign in the northeastern United States, plus Ohio. And he had the Grace Commission, which did much of what Elon Musk is doing. We didn't have the technological advantages then, but they identified billions of wasteful and duplicative and fraudulent spending, but then sadly nothing happened about it. Now that process has been turbocharged. Elon Musk and his Doge project, they haven't identified millions, they haven't identified billions, they literally have identified trillions of dollars where we either don't know where it's going or it's going someplace illicit. Particularly in USAID, which is way off of its original mission. It was originally formed by executive order to try to help countries in Central and South America who were fighting encroaching communism. It's morphed into a slush fund that is paid for all kinds of political activities, some of them as diverse as toppling foreign governments, promoting the Russian collusion hoax, millions of dollars to NGOs, these nonprofit organizations. In one case, I saw a federal judge ruled that Trump and Elon didn't have the authority to do what they are doing when it comes to waste, fraud, and corruption. But then it turns out that very judge received funds for a nonprofit organization that he runs from USAID. So he has an egregious conflict of interest. But I think it is a real possibility. We got about 2 minutes here before we go to break. What do you think of the idea put forward by President Trump to do away with the income tax, close the IRS, and depend on tariff revenue as we did in this country until 1913?
Roger, I love it. It's I was a fan of the fair tax. This is better than the fair tax because the fair tax was going to send people checks, and then it was going to create a new tax, a value-added tax on everything sold in lieu of an income tax. But you've already got a mechanism in place to tax basically foreign goods that are sold in America and overseas, and that's the tariff. So we can, I think that it's a much better way to fund the needs of the government. I just want to make sure that when Trump kills the income tax, to do so that we follow him up and we actually make it permanent.
Yeah, I really think that this is indicative of the outside-the-box thinking of Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent. I think he's going to be the greatest Secretary of the Treasury since Alexander Hamilton. He's a libertarian. He's a huge fan of gold. He understands the value of tax cutting. I saw Robert Reich last week repeating the same lie again, that tax cuts cause inflation and deficits. Tax cuts, every year we've cut federal taxes. We've had a giant boost in federal revenues under JFK, under Ronald Reagan, yes, and under Donald Trump. We'll be back with more of Congressman Eric Burlison on the other side. This is the Roger Stone Show. Whatever you do, please, if you want to get the inside skinny on American politics, don't touch that dial.
This is the Roger Stone Show.
Smart Water Alkaline with antioxidant. 9.5 plus pH, now in cans.
Refreshing.
Made for every way you move.
Should I run a marathon?
Let's start with finishing that water. Smart Water Alkaline with antioxidant, now in a sleek can. For those with a taste for taste. Grab yours today.
This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit TemptationsTreats.com to learn more.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone, who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now, he's cleaner than anybody in this place. Now, they treated him very unfairly.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone.
Roger Stone.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group. Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back. If you are a regular listener of the Roger Stone Show, you know I'm very proud of my Italian-American heritage, and therefore I try to go into the family records and produce some of our favorite recipes that were my mother's, therefore they were my grandmother's, therefore they were my great-grandmother's. Today, as promised, before we end the show, I'm going to give you our recipe for baked clams oreganata. So grab a pen and a little paper. And before the show's over, I'm going to lay that on you. We're going to return now to Congressman Eric Burlison of Missouri. He is a conservative Republican, a strong and proud supporter of President Donald Trump. He's a belongs to the new Republican Party, the party of common sense and the working people. Congressman, I noticed that Congressman Brandon Gill has introduced a bill to put Donald Trump on the $100 bill. The act is called the Golden Age Act, and for many years, Democrats have pushed replacing Andrew Jackson, who is the president who's most often compared to President Donald Trump because he was a feisty populist, but they want to replace him on the $20 bill with Harriet Tubman. Obviously, I think the idea of giving Ben Franklin a break on the $100 bill and putting Donald Trump sounds like a great idea to me. He is, after all, other than Grover Cleveland, the only president to be elected, then not be reelected in a disputed reelection, and then come back to win the office again, a New Yorker like Donald Trump. So I urge you to co-sponsor this bill, Congressman.
I will look into it. Yeah, I think I would love to get Jackson off of the $20 bill. I personally am not a big fan. I've some of the things that he did with the Native Americans, but I would love to get Donald Trump. I told Donald Trump when I had the opportunity to meet him at Mar-a-Lago that I think that he is the greatest president, and he's going to demonstrate, he's going to save this country. And I said, I'm convinced that the people are going to demand that your face be added to Mount Rushmore. And I think being added to Rushmore and being put on one of our currencies, I think is a great idea.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has introduced a bill that would add Donald Trump to Mount Rushmore. I think it's a great idea. I saw that Anthony Constantino, the chief executive order of Sticker Mule, who's running for Congress in upstate New York, said that he would co-sponsor the bill. I hope others will do so. I'm in complete agreement. I'm curious to know what you think of the announcement by Elon Musk and his Doge, his directive working on government efficiency, that they want to examine the gold reserve both at Fort Knox and also at the New York Federal Reserve. Nobody's actually seen our government's gold since 1974, which I find really odd. Do you think our gold is there, Congressman, or has it been somehow depleted, or maybe it belongs to somebody other than the American people?
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's not there. That's what I think that, or at least the most of it is not there. I think I kind of agree with what Milton Friedman said, that if you put government in charge of the Sahara Desert, it would eventually run out of sand. So I don't have much hope in there being anything left.
It is a very real concern. This could be like Geraldo Rivera and Al Capone's safe, could have a huge buildup. Then they pop the door open and the gold is not there. Either that, or right now there are two guys with spray gold paint and bricks working furtively through the night. But in one sense, of course, if we learned the gold was not there or has somehow been diminished or is missing, our monetary system is no longer based on gold. It is based on paper. It's based on the, quote, full faith and credit of the United States government. It's why I urge people to acquire precious gold, precious metals like gold and silver for the protection of their retirement. It's going to be very interesting. I would love to see us go back to 1897. As they say, we conservatives, we want to turn back the clock. Well, in the 1897s, we had no federal income tax until 1913. We had more than enough revenues from tariffs to support the country, and we liberated Cuba. We have to leave it there. I want to thank my guest, Congressman Eric Burlison from Missouri's 7th District, for joining us. Thank you, Congressman, for being on the Roger Stone Show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.